Chapter 81, Body Integration Realm, Senior Xin. In a cave, Xing Hongxian looked warily at the gray-robed elder. The gray-robed elder snorted and said, "Little girl, your husband can't possibly be more talented than my disciple. Give up on him. I can let bygones be bygones and bring you to the formless sect. This is a great opportunity that many people dream of." This gray-robed elder was enlightened old monster. Xing Hongxian had accidentally entered this cave decades ago to comprehend a cultivation technique. She had met enlightened old monster by chance. However, the two of them had only nodded to each other and did not speak much. Later, when enlightened old monster left, Xing Hongxian also returned to the Jade Pure sect. Recently, Xing Hongxian felt that something was missing. So she rushed back to this mystic realm and found this cave to continue cultivating the divine technique. Coincidentally, enlightened old monster returned. He was shocked to discover that she had already mastered the technique and wanted to take her in as his disciple. Xing Hongxian rejected him at first, but since he kept pestering her, she had to admit that she was already married. Enlightened old monster had a high cultivation level. After calculating with his fingers, he realized that Xing Hongxian was not fated to be married. Xing Hongxian could only helplessly say that she had already agreed to marry an elder from the same sect. This infuriated enlightened old monster. This was also the reason why Hanju received 4 stars of hatred. Xing Hongxian shook her head. "Thank you for your kind intentions, senior. I really don't want to leave my husband." On the other side, Hanju also discovered their conversation through the heavenly puppet. Hanju felt that it was impossible for there to be hatred for no reason, so he started checking from the 3 heavenly puppet. As expected, he found enlightened old monster here. Enlightened old monster said helplessly, "Little girl, your great yen is only a small place. As for the Jade Pure sect, I've never heard of it. This mystic realm is connected to many places. If you join the formless sect, you'll be able to see a wider world. As long as you're willing, I can conceal your information. Think about it for a while longer. 10 years later, I'll come again. If you're willing, you can cut off all ties and wait for me here." With that, enlightened old monster left. After Hanju heard that, he was secretly angry. "So you're here to steal her from me." He couldn't help but use his divine sense to observe Xing Hongxian's expression. After enlightened old monster left, Xing Hongxian revealed a look of disdain. She shook her head and continued to study the cultivation technique on the cave wall. Not bad. She wasn't tempted. Inside the connate cave abode, Hanju used his interpersonal relationships to check on enlightened old monster. Enlightened old monster, 7th level of the body integration realm, sect master of the formless sect, a great expert. Because you are the husband of his beloved disciple's prospective wife, he is dissatisfied with you. If Xing Hongxian agrees to leave with him, he will kill you to prevent all future troubles. Current hatred points. For stars, the sect master of the formless sect. Hanju touched his chin and fell into deep thought. After a while, he began the simulation trial, raising Dian Su's cultivation level to the 7th level of the body integration realm. It took him 2 minutes to defeat him. Enlightened old monster was definitely stronger. I can't kill him instantly. That's an issue. It looked like he had to break through to the body integration realm as soon as possible. Hanju immediately held his breath and sought to reach the perfected void amalgamation realm as soon as possible. 5 years later, Hanju finally reached the perfected void amalgamation realm. Before he broke through, he took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed enlightened old monster for 4 days and 4 nights straight before heading to the 10,000 demon realm to break through. He first contacted Taoist Jingshu to clear the 10,000 demon realm. Taoist Jingshu did not delay and immediately made arrangements. Li Qingzi had instructed her that she must satisfy all of Hanju's requests immediately and not be negligent. 4 hours later, the disciples at the 10,000 demon realm were chased out by the various elders. This caused a huge commotion in the inner sect. But when they heard that it was the deity slaying elders' request, all the disciples were no longer unhappy. The body integration realm's tribulation was terrifying. Even when Hanju activated the barrier, it still caused a huge commotion. The elders gathered and felt the vast heavenly might, all of them trembling in fear. How strong is deity slaying elder? Looking at the commotion, he has probably surpassed the ancestor. Stop marveling. How can the cultivation will of the deity-slaying elder be compared to us? This is not something that can be achieved through cultivation alone. His talent is definitely the strongest in the Jade Pure sect. With the deity-slaying elder around, the Jade Pure sect became as powerful as it is today. Most importantly, he did not consolidate his authority. It's admirable. Listening to the elder's discussion, Li Qingzi held his head high as if he was bragging. Guan Yugang had a complex expression. He looked at the apocalyptic scene in the distance, his eyes filled with a At this point, he didn't blame Hanju at all. Instead, he started to cultivate with Hanju as his target. Unfortunately, the gap between them still grew. Perhaps one day, he can ascend to become a true immortal. Guan Yugang thought silently. On a wasteland, a half-naked man sat in mid-air. Countless bolts of lightning descended from the sky and intertwined with his body. This person was Zhou Fan. Not far away, Mo Fuzhou and a woman in a purple dress stood side by side. After so many years, Zhou Fan and Mo Fuzhou were no longer young and immature. They had matured and their aura was even more powerful. Zhou Fan's body had a visual impact during the tribulation. It was like the sacred body of an ancient god, indestructible, carrying a sword on his back. Mo Fuzhou had a demonic aura. He asked, "Senior, what relationship do you have with my junior brother? How can you be so generous?" Not only had the purple-dressed woman resurrected Zhou Fan, but she had also helped him cultivate. Under her guidance, Zhou Fan's strength had soared. Now, Zhou Fan was breaking through to the nascent soul realm. In fact, his strength was already comparable to a nascent soul realm cultivator, having previously killed one himself. This junior brother of yours was fated to be with me in my previous life. He saved me once. I'm still indebted to him. Previous life, Mo Fuzhou couldn't help but be curious. The purple-robed woman said wistfully, speaking of which, it's still his providence that's powerful. The opportunities he obtained previously made him sufficiently powerful. I'm just taking advantage of the situation. In the future, he will stir up a storm in the world. Perhaps, he will reach the Mahayana realm again. Again, Mo Fuzhou was secretly shocked. Could it be that Zhou Fan was a Mahayana cultivator in his previous life? He's about to succeed. I have to leave as well. To save him, I asked my senior sister for a favor. I have to return it. The purple-robed woman shook her head. With that said, she turned around and prepared to leave. Mo Fuzhou hurriedly asked, "May I ask for senior's Dao title? How will we repay you in the future?" The purple-robed woman leaped up. A cloud appeared beneath her feet, carrying her to the horizon. Her voice entered Mo Fuzhou's ears. "It's best that you don't know my Dao title, lest you attract trouble. The only thing I can tell you is that my surname is Xian." Xian, Mo Fuzhou frowned. Thinking back, he had never heard of a powerful cultivator with the surname Shen. He looked at Zhou Fan again. 10,000 Demon Realm. After 10 days and 10 nights of tribulation transcendence, Hanju finally succeeded. Body Integration Realm. He had finally reached the Body Integration Realm. He was extremely excited. Detected that you have successfully broken through to the Body Integration Realm. You have the following choices. 1. Come out immediately and show the world how powerful you are. You can obtain a numinous treasure and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Continue to cultivate in seclusion. Cultivate in a low profile. The target is to be the strongest in the world. You can obtain a natural treasure. Chapter 82, Increase of Lifespan. Zhou Fan's inflated ego. Hanju chose the second option without hesitation. Come out now. Impossible. Hanju had already come into contact with a Mahayana realm cultivator. In his opinion, it would definitely be dangerous if he didn't reach the Mahayana realm himself. Otherwise, why would Zhou Fan die in his previous life? Even the Mahayana realm might not be safe in this world. You chose to continue your seclusion and cultivate in a low profile. Stay away from the secular world and obtain a natural treasure. Congratulations on obtaining the Earth Immortal Gourd Seed. Earth Immortal Gourd Seed. It blooms in 1,000 years and bears fruit in 10,000 years. It can be eaten or used to refine Dharma treasures. If the fruit is nurtured for a long time, it can automatically become a Dharma treasure and give birth to life. Hanju blinked. The first thing he thought of when he saw the seed of the earth immortal gourd was the Calabash brothers. 1. Next was the legendary connate gourd in Chinese mythology. Hanju continued to consolidate his cultivation and opened his attributes panel. 900 years, amazing, as expected of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. The higher one's cultivation realm was, the faster their lifespan would increase. Hanju was arrogant now. The increase in lifespan felt better than the increase in cultivation. Hanju felt a greater sense of security. With his body integration realm cultivation, not to mention Great Yin, he was already a top-notch expert in the cultivation world, but it was not enough. He had to continue cultivating. As for going out to have fun, what was the rush? How long would Hanju's lifespan be when he reached the Mahayana realm? At that time, he would have plenty of time to be carefree. Today's bitter cultivation would be the foundation for him to be carefree in the future. Several days later, after Hanju's cultivation completely stabilized, he stood up and left quickly. He did not greet the elders in the distance to avoid trouble. The elders did not mind. Instead, they admired him even more. As expected of the deity slaying elder, his Tao heart was truly firm. If such a person did not become an immortal, who was worthy of becoming one? After returning to the entrance of the connate cave abode, Hanju bumped into Xing Hongxian. The black hell chicken was beside her, chatting with her. The black hell chicken could now expand and shrink as it pleased. It was now about the size of a normal rooster. Sun Chang'an was still meditating under the fusang tree, not daring to approach Xing Hongxian. As soon as she saw him, Xing Hongxian immediately pounced over. Husband, have you broken through? Xing Hongxian asked excitedly. Hanju rarely left the cave abode. As long as he left, it must be to break through. Hanju nodded and said, let's go in first. The two entered the connate cave abode. The black hell chicken wanted to follow, but was blocked by the array formation. It arrived in front of Sun Chang'an and smiled. Do you think Xing Hongxian will eat master? Sun Chang'an's face twitched. Perhaps. Hearing the black hell chicken's words, Sun Chang'an suddenly thought of his beloved, and a small flame ignited in his heart. Damn it, is this foul chicken doing this on purpose? This sentence was too hurtful. Sun Chang'an's heart, which was as dry as a well, stirred again. The seal of the love tribulation began to loosen. Although my master doesn't like to go out, there are always women who come looking for him and want to eat him. What do you think will happen if they are alone in the same room? Will our master be in danger? Sun Chang'an glared at it and cursed. Get lost. Go cultivate. The black hell chicken was depressed. What was wrong with this kid? What a temper. Inside the connate cave abode, Xing Hongxian stood in front of Hanju and became angrier as she talked about enlightened old monster. She was unhappy with the elder's high and mighty attitude. As if the Jade Pure sect was a remote village and Hanju was only a mortal. Hanju smiled and asked, what he said is true. Aren't you tempted? Xing Hongxian sat down and smiled as she replied, how can that be? I'm going to keep pestering you. My husband will definitely become an immortal. I'm still waiting for you to rise up. As she spoke, she took out a bottle of pills from her sleeve and said, I found this bottle in the mystic realm. The spirit chi is very strong. I only sniffed it, and my golden core became unstable. Therefore, it doesn't suit me. It should suit you, my husband. Hanju took the bottle and opened it to A. Spirit chi was indeed abundant. He injected his 6-path spirit energy into it. There was no danger. Yes, thank you. Hanju smiled. Xing Hongxian smiled. Several days later, she left the cave abode in satisfaction. On the wasteland, the setting sun was like blood as it continued to the end of the world. Zhou Fan and Nemo Fuzhou sat on a huge rock. After successfully breaking through, Zhou Fan was in high spirits. From time to time, he would twist his neck and admire his perfect body. Senior, let me take revenge for you first. After that, I plan to conquer the world and make a name for myself. I want to be number 1 in the world. Zhou Fan said proudly, his tone filled with confidence. Mo Fuzhou said helplessly, you're only at the nascent soul realm. How dare you be so arrogant? Zhou Fan smiled and said, I'm not stupid. I'll definitely start challenging cultivators of the same cultivation realm. I want to prove to her that I'm worthy of her. A few decades ago, Mo Fuzhou and Zhou Fan met a woman. Zhou Fan fell in love at first sight and wanted to pursue her. However, she had a powerful background and said that it was impossible for them to be together. Even if they were in love, her father would not agree. If she wanted to marry, she could only marry a powerful cultivator. These words stimulated Zhou Fan. He hated it when others looked down on him. Therefore, he took the extreme path. Mo Fuzhou often advised against it, but it was useless. Let's challenge the true martial sect first. I heard that there are many elites there. Zhou Fan smiled in high spirits. He suddenly thought of someone and smiled. Senior, do you still remember Hanju from the Jade Pure sect? You said that he might be the deity slaying elder and that he had once killed a soul formation cultivator. I think that with my current strength, I can match up to a soul formation cultivator. Have I finally caught up to him? Hanju, Mo Fuzhou frowned and said, Brother Han's aptitude is very high, and he has been cultivating in seclusion. His cultivation level is probably very high. I'm afraid that just the strength of the soul formation realm isn't enough to defeat him. After leaving Great Yen for so long, he wondered how the Jade Pure sect was doing. Zhou Fan shook his head and smiled. How is that possible? It's not right to cultivate in seclusion. You and I are both mortals. How can cultivation alone be enough for a mortal to become an immortal? You have to seek opportunities in the world. Look at me, my cultivation level has advanced by leaps and bounds. My former enemy is also cultivating, but he's still stuck at his original realm. When I go back in the future, I have to spar with Hanju and let him realize this. When the time comes, bring him along and the three of us will walk the world together and make a name for ourselves. Isn't that great? Chapter 83, Dong Wangxian, the abnormality of the Fusong tree. On the 7th day after Xing Hongxian left, Hanju took out the seed of the earth immortal gourd and walked out of the cave abode. He came to the Fusong tree and buried the seed in the soil. He then injected his six-path spirit energy to nourish it. He had to personally plant such a treasure. Sun Chang'an's cultivation techniques were limited. Most of the time, he let the Fusong tree grow on its own. Fortunately, the divine tree was strong. Master, what's this? Sun Chang'an asked curiously. Hanju replied, a gourd seed. You have to take care of it in the future. Sun Chang'an was curious. Where did Hanju get a gourd seed? As the Fusong tree continued to grow, Sun Chang'an discovered that this tree was not simple. The amount of spirit chi it gave birth to was already huge, and its yield exceeded all the other treasures on the mountain. Sun Chang'an wasn't stupid. Was such a treasure really from the Jade Pure sect? When Li Qingzi passed by earlier, he was still very shocked. His master's background was far beyond his imagination. Hanju observed the Fusong tree for a while before returning to his cave abode. He had just broken through to the body integration realm and was not in a hurry to cultivate. He took out the Book of Misfortune and prepared to curse enlightened old monster. You dare to steal my companion and want to eradicate me for good, making his mind. Six-path spirit energy surged into the Book of Misfortune. The Formless sect was a cultivation sect that had been passed down for nearly 10,000 years. It had deep foundations. The mountain gate was like a fairyland. There were continuous mountains and clouds. Rows of white cranes could be seen flying past. There were also oxen and horses galloping above the colorful clouds. There was a majestic waterfall between two 10,000 feet high peaks. At the bottom of the waterfall, a figure sat on the surface of the lake, enduring the terrifying impact of the waterfall. Strong winds swirled around him as if blades were slicing water. Enlightened old monster stood on the grass by the lake. He stroked his beard and looked over with a satisfied smile on his face. With Xiener's potential, he will definitely be chosen by the heavenly immortal manor. Enlightened old monster couldn't help but smile when he thought of his disciple, Dong Wangxian. stirring up trouble in the heavenly immortal manner and eventually becoming a top-notch cultivator in the world or even ascending. His aptitude had already reached its limits, and it was very difficult for him to break through to the tribulation transcendence realm. Thus, he placed his hopes on his disciple. At this moment, enlightened old monster's vitality suddenly became chaotic. His essence soul shook, and the world spun around him. His body swayed and he nearly fell. A mouthful of blood flowed down his throat. He couldn't help but spit it out. He hurriedly sat down and began to circulate his energy to heal his injuries. Under the waterfall, Dong Wangxian opened his eyes. Two beams of light shot out from his eyes, piercing through the water. He immediately stood up and appeared beside enlightened old monster. In the light of the sun, Dong Wangxian stood bare-chested, his muscles clearly defined. He was not bloated or gaunt. He had an indescribable beauty to him. His features were angular, his eyebrows sharp, and his eyes bright. His wet black hair rose up steaming. Strands of black hair floated up and dried. Dong Wangxian frowned. "Master, what's wrong?" Enlightened old monster did not open his eyes. Instead, he gritted his teeth and said, "Someone is cursing me." Enlightened old monster was a body integration realm cultivator, after all. His knowledge was greater than that of Shaoyi, Taoist calm sky, and Demon King Dian Su. He understood his own cultivation very well. He couldn't have suffered such a heavy injury for no reason. Someone must be cursing him behind his back. Dong Wangxian frowned even harder and asked, "Who could it be?" "Tell me, I'll go and kill him immediately." "I'm not sure either. I can't deduce the origins of this curse." "You don't have to worry about it. Cultivate well and try to master the mystical power as soon as possible." After enlightened old monster finished speaking, he did not say anything else and focused on healing his injuries. Dong Wangxian was about to leave when enlightened old monster spat out another mouthful of blood. How strong is the enemy to be able to make a 7th level body integration realm cultivator suffer like this? Dong Wangxian was deep in thought. He cursed for half a day. When the system indicated danger, Hanju stopped and started healing. Several days later, he recovered. That guy must be suffering. Hanju thought proudly. Then, he returned to his cultivation, was no longer afraid of enlightened old monster attacking him. After all, he was also at the body integration realm. Hanju first cultivated the 7th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. The 7th level of the mental cultivation technique was much more profound than before. Cultivating it was also more complicated. 10 days later, Hanju grasped it with his powerful aptitude and started to absorb qi to increase his cultivation. Hanju was pleasantly surprised to find that as his cultivation level increased, his cultivation speed didn't slow down. It was mainly because his potential also began to show. He breathed in the spirit qi of heaven and earth like a whale swallowing water and could feel his cultivation level increasing every day. Apart from his aptitude, it was also thanks to the Fusong tree and the spirit qi that he had cultivated on this immortal mountain. Every once in a while, Li Qingzi would get someone to come to the Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain and plant even better natural treasures, causing the spirit qi to constantly increase. He wanted Hanju to be unwilling to leave, although Hanju said that he didn't want to leave and was afraid that there would be too much trouble outside. Li Qingzi knew that once Hanju felt that there was insufficient spirit qi here, he would definitely leave. It was the same for the founder back then. Cultivation was endless, and the seclusion of powerful cultivators took decades. In the blink of an eye, 15 years passed quickly. Hanju successfully broke through to the 2nd level of the body integration realm. He had already taken the pill that Xing Hongxian had given him. That pill could actually strengthen his physique and increase his cultivation level. Hanju had always been a spirit qi cultivator. His spirit energy could allow him to kill enemies at a higher cultivation level, but the strength of his body was similar to those at the same cultivation level. Fortunately, he had many numinous treasures that could defend his body. After the breakthrough, Hanju left the cave abode again. He walked in front of the Fusong tree and stretched his muscles. The seed of the earth immortal gourd had already started to grow vines that wrapped around the Fusong tree like a green snake. It was still too early for the earth immortal gourd to bloom and bear fruit. Hanju only hoped that it could help strengthen the spirit chi here. As he stretched, he opened his interpersonal relationships to check his emails. After so many years, he wondered how his friends were doing. Your pet, the chaotic heavenly dog, was attacked by beasts, X18928. Your disciple Su Chi was attacked by a fellow disciple, X76. Your disciple Su Chi has fallen into the abyss. His fate is unknown. Your disciple Su Chi spread bad luck. The luck of the demon taming sect is declining. The chance of the entire sect's disciples encountering inner demons has increased. Your pet, chaotic heavenly dog, was attacked by righteous cultivators, X3422. Your good friend Changyuer has comprehended the sun and moon. Her cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Daoist 9 Cauldrons was attacked by demons and was severely injured. His life is hanging by a thread. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a righteous cultivator, X4893. Your good friend Mo Fuzhou was attacked by a righteous cultivator, X4211. Hanju was secretly shocked. How tragic, almost everyone was beaten up. Su Chi had fallen into the abyss, probably because of the demon taming sect. They were in trouble now. Also, the chaotic heavenly dog was truly mad. It provoked enemies everywhere and constantly fought. Just as Hanju was thinking, Sun Chang'an suddenly said, Master, recently, the Fusong tree will shake on its own at night. What's going on? Puzzled, Hanju asked, shake on its own? Has it become a spirit? Sun Chang'an shook his head. He didn't know either. Hanju probed the Fusong tree with his divine sense, but didn't sense the existence of an essence soul. If it became a spirit and developed intelligence, it would definitely have an essence soul. Hanju decided to observe carefully. The Fusong tree must be sick. Night fell. Hanju walked out of the connate cave abode and found that the Fusong tree was indeed shaking as invisible hands were shaking the trunk. Sun Chang'an was obviously a little afraid and stayed far away. Hanju observed for a while. Then his expression became strange. Could it be? What was the Fusong tree summoning? Chapter 84, Divine Beast Judo, Destroying the World. Northern Yen. Inside the connate cave abode, Demon King Dian Su opened his eyes and frowned. Ever since he went to the Jade Pure sect, his nightmare had come to an end. Therefore, he had made the best use of his time to recuperate until today. But recently, he had been feeling uneasy. This uneasiness came out of nowhere. Even his demonic blood stirred. What's going on? Is that immortal trying to harm me again? The more he thought about it, the more miserable he felt. After being sealed for 2,000 years, he had been heavily injured before he could even take revenge. Demon King Dian Su felt that his subordinates were laughing at him. The more he thought about it, the more frustrated he became. An evil fire burned in his heart. He really wanted to slaughter the entire Great Yen. Forget it. He had to endure it. Demon King Dian Su sighed and closed his eyes to continue cultivating. Above the sea of clouds was a huge mirror-like lake. Surrounded by clouds, it was as beautiful as a painting. Xian Qingjun and a purple-robed woman sat by the lake. The purple-robed woman was the mighty figure who had saved Zhou Fan. Senior sister, aren't you ascending? The purple-robed woman turned her head and asked. Xian Qingjun didn't open her eyes as she replied, it's not time yet. The purple-robed woman clicked her tongue in wonder. I really don't understand all of you. You could have ascended at the Tribulation Transcendence realm. Even now that you've reached the Mahayana realm and have completely elevated your body, you can already do well in the Immortal Realm. What are you waiting for? Xian Qingjun didn't reply but asked instead, how is Zhou Fan? Don't mention it. Compared to his previous life, this kid is like a completely different person. He's extremely impatient and might even need me to save him one day. However, he already completely trusts me. Yes, this child is an important part of our plan. Don't let him die, and don't let him resist you. He won't. This child lacked love since he was young. If you treat him well, he will be loyal. Speaking of which, I have a Tao companion in the Jade Pure sect. Ah. Senior sister, you actually found a partner. The purple-robed woman's eyes widened. She immediately became interested and kept asking about him. Xian Qingjun recalled the past and smiled. I wanted to see the sect Zhou Fan was from. I didn't expect to meet a kid that I liked. This kid is an ascetic. After so many years, he might have reached the soul formation realm. The purple-robed woman said in surprise, his potential isn't inferior to Zhou Fan's? Of course. I'll bring you to see him next time. Xian Qingjun smiled when she mentioned Hanju. Even after walking around the world, she found that Hanju was still the most handsome man she had ever seen. His personality was also very likable, but at this moment, the surface of the mirror quickly turned fiery red. The wind howled, and heat waves scattered the sea of clouds. Xian Qingjun and the purple-robed woman immediately stood up. They looked down and saw a huge firebird with a wingspan of 1,000 feet flying past. The purple-robed woman asked in astonishment, Divine Beast Judo? The legendary divine beast that represents calamity. Xian Qingjun frowned. This Judo isn't mature yet, but it's already filled with the aura of misfortune. Something must be attracting it. TSK, I wonder which place is so unlucky to attract the Judo. Ever since he discovered that the Fusang tree would shake every night, Hanju began to feel uneasy. He felt that the tree would attract something. Could it be the legendary golden crow? Impossible. Isn't the golden crow hanging in the sky? He didn't see the sun getting lower. Hanju paid attention. He didn't dare to focus on his cultivation. Several days later, Li Qingzi came to visit. After entering the cave abode, he sat on a chair and said with a smile, Elder Han, recently, the Jade Pure sect has welcomed a joyous occasion. We discovered the ruins of an ancient sect with many resources inside. There are cultivation techniques, treasures, and even Dharma treasures. Do you want to take a look? Hanju frowned and asked, has this matter spread? If such an opportunity were to spread, it would definitely attract all the cultivators in the world. Of course not. This is a secret of the sect. Elder Guan has already brought 5 elders and 100 core disciples to guard it. The teleportation formation is about to be set up. When the time comes, the disciples of the Jade Pure sect can directly enter the ruins. Li Qingzi smiled proudly. Over the past few years, the Jade Pure sect had been steadily developing. They did not provoke any enemies, and more itinerant cultivators joined the sect. Most of the cultivators in the cultivation world had forgotten about the deity-slaying elder, but the upper echelons of the various sects still remembered him. Therefore, they didn't dare to provoke the Jade Pure sect or even stop its development. Hanju nodded and said, that's good. I won't go. Be careful. Usually, this kind of ruins might have restrictions. I understand. If I find any treasure that can increase spirit chi, I'll get someone to send it over. Thank you, Sect Master. You're welcome. The two of them chatted briefly before Li Qingzi left in a hurry. Hanju's mood improved, was very satisfied with the peaceful strengthening of the Jade Pure sect. The stronger the sect was, the more he could cultivate in seclusion and peace. Hanju suddenly realized that Sun Chang'an was gone. He immediately used his divine sense to track him and discovered that he was in an inn in the inner sect city. In the northern part of Great Yen, flames appeared in the sky, illuminating it. The ice and snow on the ground melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. Countless demons escaped from their cave abodes and looked towards the horizon, including Demon King Dian Su. As Dian Su stood at the entrance and looked at the sky. The light from the fire illuminated his face. He was shocked. That's Judo. How is that possible? Oh no. Almost scared out of his wits, Dian Su immediately entered the cave abode. Mud rose from the cave entrance and quickly formed a mountain wall. The divine beast Judo spread its wings and flew over. It was like the legendary golden crow sweeping across the land. Wherever it passed, the ice melted, turning into a lake before evaporating into smoke. Judo was shaped like a firebird. It had a head like a dog and 3 legs. Its claws were different from that of a ferocious bird and more like dragon claws. The overall appearance made it look extremely powerful and unstoppable. The thousands of miles of snow melted under its heat, its eyes glowed like torches as it looked in the direction of the Jade Pure Sect, Inner Sect INN, and the guest room. Soon Chang'an sat at the table with a wine cup in his hand. He smiled and said, Chiener, how do you feel about coming to the Jade Pure Sect? I've already joined the sect for decades. If you encounter any trouble, you can look for me anytime. He looked at a graceful woman by the window. She was dressed in green. Her long hair reached her waist and her skin was fair and beautiful. Although she was not so beautiful that she could cause the downfall of a city, she was still a rare beauty. The woman called Chiener tucked her hair behind her ear and said, Chang'an, you don't have to treat me like this. It's really impossible between us. Perhaps you're doing well in the Jade Pure Sect, but I can't give myself to you for the sake of benefits. Soon Chang'an's heart ached when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and said, Why? Because of my looks? I can put on a handsome face. Chiener turned around and looked at him. Her beautiful eyes were filled with dissatisfaction as she said, What is real is real. What is fake will always be fake. If I love you, even if the seas run dry and the stones crumble, my heart will never change. If I don't love you, even if the world is destroyed and only you and I are left, I will never fall in love with you. Heartache, Sun Chang'an crushed the cup in his hand. His palm did not bleed, but his heart did. At this moment, the light of the fire shone on Chiener's back, and a hot wind blew in. Soon Chang'an's eyes widened. Chiener subconsciously turned around and saw that the sky was quickly dyed red. A sun was speeding over from the horizon. Divine Beast Judo. Chapter 85, Slaying a Divine Beast, Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger. What's that? Chiener asked in horror. This was the first time she had seen such a terrifying scene. Sun Chang'an walked to her side and was also shocked when he saw this. It wasn't just them, even the 18 peaks, inner sect, and outer sect noticed the scene. Boom! The Jade Pure Sect exploded into a commotion. More and more disciples flew up on their swords and looked into the distance in horror. What's that? The sun? Oh my god, demons are attacking? What a terrifying heat. When it comes, won't the sect be destroyed? Am I seeing things? It's over. What should we do? Activate the sect protection formation? As the disciples discussed in horror, the elders immediately raised the sect protection formation. Li Qingzi had just walked out of the Cultivate diligently become Immortal Mountain and had yet to return to the main peak when he saw Zhu Do coming in menacingly. His eyes widened like he was seeing a ghost. At the same time, a line of words suddenly appeared in front of Han Ju. The divine beast Zhu Do is attacking. It wants to occupy the Fusong tree. Zhu Do, 5th level of body integration realm, divine beast of calamity, son of the vermilion bird. Bearer of connate misfortune and burns with the flames of the sun, capable of destroying the world. Han Ju was shocked. Divine beast Zhu Do, the divine beast of calamity. Han Ju hurriedly flashed out of the cave abode. He appeared at the edge of the cliff and looked at the sky. The sky was already dyed red as if dusk had fallen. Zhu Do, the divine beast, was rapidly growing in size. It was getting closer and closer to the Jade Pure Sect. Han Ju felt the terrifying heat and instantly determined that the Jade Pure Sect's sect protection formation might not be able to withstand it. Once the Zhu Do landed on the Cultivate diligently become Immortal Mountain, everything on the mountain would turn to ash. Not only that, but the entire Jade Pure Sect would also be destroyed. Master. Run. The Black Hell Chicken flew to Han Ju's side and shouted nervously. Han Ju frowned and didn't answer. He sent a voice transmission to the Zhu Do. Stop. However, the Zhu Do completely ignored him and instead accelerated. The terrifying heat burned the forest on the ground, and the fire spread to the Jade Pure Sect at an unbelievable speed. At that moment, all the disciples of the sect were frightened. Li Qingzi subconsciously flew towards the Cultivate diligently become Immortal Mountain, wanting to seek Han Ju's help. However, before he entered the mountain, he saw a sword beam fly out from the Immortal Mountain. It tore through the sky. The sword beam was extremely eye-catching in the fiery sky, like a shooting star in the night. Many disciples witnessed this scene. That sword light was Han Ju. This time, Hanju didn't fly on his sword. Instead, he rushed towards the judo at full speed. He couldn't let it approach the sect, or it would be finished. A mountain of natural treasures that had been nurtured for 200 years could not be destroyed like this. Hanju took out the primordial judgment sword and activated all the numinous treasures on his body. 7th grade numinous treasure, golden cicada's mystic divine robe, activated. 5th grade 9 stars spirit trampling boots, activated. 4th grade frost lord's glazed crown, activated. 3rd grade earth emperor's soul ward, activated. 3rd grade heart protecting immortal chain, activated. 6th grade numinous treasure, burning fiend bell, shielding him from above. In an instant, Hanju couldn't feel the heat of the judo's fire. The judo clearly saw Hanju and accelerated towards him. It opened its mouth as if it wanted to swallow him whole. Divine Beast Judo has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 5 stars. Damn it, what a vile beast. It hated him so much the moment they met. Go and die. Killing intent burst out from Hanju's eyes, and he suddenly slashed with his sword. The reincarnation sword intent fused into the sword blade. 6th-path spirit energy transformed into sword chi and erupted like a volcano. A black sword chi appeared in the sky like a black crescent moon, shocking many disciples of the Jade Pure sect. Heavenly punishment ghost deity sword, boom. The sword chi collided with the judo and exploded as the divine beast stopped moving, but it wasn't dead yet, although it was only at the 5th level of the body integration realm. It was a divine beast. Its strength and physical strength far exceeded that of a spirit. Even so, facing Hanju's domineering sword, the judo still fell into a daze. Hanju didn't stop. He raised his sword and pointed it at the sky. A terrifying sword chi rushed into the sky, forming a huge vortex visible to the naked eye. Sword shadows condensed out of thin air. 3 pure world cleansing. In less than a second, more than 10,000 sword shadows shot towards the judo from all directions. The disciples of the sect only saw a sword flash before their eyes. Immediately after, the sword chi exploded. The intense light that burst forth caused the world to lose its color. They were shaken until they closed their eyes. Hanju had already given it his all. If he couldn't kill the judo, he would fall into a fierce battle here. As it is your first time killing a divine beast, you have obtained a Sword Dao mystical power inheritance. Congratulations on obtaining mystical power. Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger. Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger. Sword Dao mystical power. Using the finger to shoot out sword chi, kill enemies 10,000 miles away. The strength and range of the sword chi depend on the user's cultivation level. Looking at the 3 lines of words, Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the judo was dead. Hanju opened his eyes and saw that the judo was falling. The flames of the sun on its body quickly shrank, exposing skin full of holes. It was a ghastly sight. After being killed by 3 pure world cleansing, it was no longer the same. It was like a huge bloody corpse. Boom. The judo's corpse landed on the ground. Hanju waved his hand and used the wind god technique to blow out the flames in all directions. Fortunately, it was not the legendary true sun flame. Otherwise, it wouldn't be extinguished by mere blowing. Hanju looked at the corpse, not knowing what to do. At this moment, a familiar aura rushed over. Hanju turned around and saw the black hell chicken flying over quickly. Master, don't destroy the corpse. Leave it to me. The black hell chicken shouted excitedly. Hanju was stunned. What does this chicken want? The black hell chicken landed in front of the judo's corpse. It quickly grew taller and became a terrifying giant chicken taller than a mountain and began to peck at the corpse, eating a divine beast. Shaking his head and ignoring it, Hanju quickly flew back to the immortal mountain. That Li Qingzi waited at the entrance and asked nervously, Elder Han, what demon is that? Hanju replied, I'm not sure either. It's already dead. My chicken is eating its corpse. Tell the elders not to disturb it. He didn't dare to say that it was a divine beast. Killing a divine beast would easily leave others speechless. The reason why divine beasts were divine beasts was that people believed in their identity granted by the immortals. Li Qingzi nodded and quickly comforted the disciples. After returning to the cave abode, Hanju directly began to inherit the Heaven Earth Mystic Yellow World Piercing Sword Finger. And the inn. Sun Chang'an wiped the sweat off his forehead and smiled. It should be my master. The calamity has been resolved. Regardless of the apocalypse, my feelings for you will not change. Qianer was shocked. Is your master the legendary deity-slaying elder of the Jade Pure sect? Sun Chang'an nodded. I heard that he's very good-looking? Sun Chang'an's smile froze. On the other side, the disciples of the sect did not see clearly who had slain the divine beast, Zhudo. However, the sword beam had come from the Cultivate diligently become Immortal Mountain. They guessed that it was the sect's most mysterious elder. Several hours later, Hanju had already grasped the heaven-earth mystic yellow world-piercing sword finger. The Jade Pure sect regained its calm. After eating the divine beast, the black hell chicken returned to the mountain forest behind the Cultivate diligently become Immortal Mountain. It seemed to be refining the Zhudo's flesh and blood. Hanju scanned the surroundings of the sect with his divine sense and heaved a sigh of relief. How dangerous. This calamity struck because of the Fusang tree, but he wouldn't reveal its secret. Divine beast Vermilion Bird has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 5 stars. Seeing a line of words jump out in front of him, Hanju's smile froze.